Hello, fifth grade. This video is for you for Tuesday morning. You should have received comments on your essays in whichever format you submitted them. You have your final draft where any corrections are made or you come up with anything more to add, which will be due on Friday. You also had to read Tuckett's Travels, which is in your reading textbook. And today, the assignment that you have is on page 653, the Write About Reading, the response. It says, as event follows event in Tuckett's Travels, readers wonder what will happen next and whether the characters will solve their conflict. Write a paragraph in which you explain how the events build on one another until the moment the storm clouds burst and the footprints are washed away. Be sure to include quotations and other evidence from the text that show how the author leads to this climax and resolution. So in your paragraph, you're probably looking at 8 to 10 sentences now to complete this paragraph. So keep that in mind as you go through and you do the things that are mentioned in the Write About Reading response section on page 653. Also, when I go back for a moment, let me go back to your literary analyses that you did about Greg and Darnell. You actually did a pretty nice job, most of you did, but this is an essay. This is not just one paragraph. And remember, in the introduction, we introduce the topic. We don't give the details that we're using to compare. In the body, then, after you've done the Venn diagram, remember when we talked about looking at your characterization and so on as we went through these steps, you want to use those details. I want you to go back for a moment to page 626 when I asked for you last week. Hopefully you're watching the videos because you have to watch the videos to know what's happening. It says, make sure your literary analysis includes intro, body, conclusion, text evidence, logically organized, easy for readers to follow, appropriate transitions and signal words. And when you were gathering your information on page 626 is where you were to have written your Venn diagram. So if you did not do a Venn diagram, that's why many of you only talked about one point of comparison. You need to think about what they have in common, how they're different, in what ways might their actions be inspiring to others. Now, some of you actually wrote about the inspirations that they created for you, and that was really fantastic. That shows me that you really looked through the information. The other question says, what could other kids learn from Greg and Darnell? Make sure that you answer that question. So even though some of you scored pretty high on your essays, go back now and make sure that you're looking at that information so that you're not missing anything that's rather important for you to cover. Also, if you look at, let me get back here for a minute. If you look at what we need to consider for characterization and the different points that we would use for describing our characters, I want you to talk about things like loyalty, motivation, the things that created the fire within the two characters that we're looking at. When you look at page 628, we're going through now the review your draft. And review your draft is the revision and then the presentation process. So I want you to look over page 628. That's very important for you because that's going to show where you are looking for the revisions and what kinds of things you need to do. In the review your draft, it says, remember that the revision and editing steps give you a chance to look carefully at your writing and make changes. Work with a partner to determine whether your literary analysis is clear and well organized. Look for places where you can help each other improve your word choices by replacing vague words with more precise words. Now, if you want to share your writing with another classmate, you can do that. You have it. I asked you to put it in the Google Doc and then copy and paste it onto the LMS page. That's what the assignment was. Some of you submitted in a Google Doc. The final copy needs to be in the LMS, copied and pasted from your Google Doc. So remember that, please. If you want to share a Google Doc with your classmates, you can do that, and they can look at it and they can make comments on it. That's fine. But you have 3 areas to look at now: your purpose and organization, the evidence and elaboration, and then the conventions. Conventions are the way that you've written. Are you using your punctuation correctly, capitalization, and so on? And then the very last step, which is due Friday, is to create a finished copy. Write or type a final copy. Now, this is what's going to be on the LMS of your literary analysis. You may want to include helpful illustrations or special formatting that will clarify your writing's organization. Choose a way to share your literary analysis with classmates. Consider these options. Your option is to submit it on the LMS. Okay? So look over page 628. If you want to share your doc with a friend, you can do that. But all final copies need to be submitted onto the LMS page. Okay? Now, let's review just real quickly. The last step for you, your assignment for Thursday is going to be page 6, page 653, the writing about reading response. So, God's blessings to you all. Have a wonderful day. Work hard on those essays. I really liked what I read. Some of you did a great job. Others of you are on the way. Just got to work with making corrections.